Alright, I'm gonna demo the speed drills at some different speeds just so you can have a comparison of like how things should sound. And when I'm playing building up speed stuff, my technique on how I pick will change depending on what tempo I'm doing. So my walking speed is very thumb picking oriented. So like we talked about having the thumb flat and like the pick pretty much flat against the string before you start, and then you bend the thumb down for the downstroke, flat for the upstroke. So talk about like what it feels like when I'm changing, or when the mechanics starts to change. And as things get faster, instead of forcing yourself to stick to like a particular kind of picking, like when your wrist wants to take over to help get the speed, let it happen. When your arm wants to take over to get the speed going, let that happen too. All right, so 60 beats a minute here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Double time, 120. 1, 2, 3, 4. Definitely tap your foot as much as you can with this stuff. Eventually the speed's going to get so fast that you want to tap like on the first and third beat instead of all 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's 160. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 180. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I definitely feel more wrist coming into play here. That's about, yeah. So like around 170 is when my wrist wants to start helping out. So there's a very small amount of room for when I transition from thumb to wrist and then wrist to arm. So here's 200. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And like my wrist is kind of doing this thing when I'm doing it. Kind of like almost like a sideways type thing. So I'm not rotating my arm this way. It's really the wrist kind of doing that. For like strummy stuff, my arm will do a rotation type thing. But for this, more like a straight down, up, like that. So I'm just pointing out what my wrist is doing, what my arm's doing. Yours may not do the same thing, and that's fine. 220. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 240. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Definitely arm is the driving force now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 260. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 280. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I was like, in some speeds I'll have to put in more muscle to make sure I'm emphasizing everything properly. When I get going to my really fast speeds, the dynamic of how hard I'm hitting the string changes. This is 300. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not good. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. So, yeah. Emphasizing the downbeats of things can also help you stay in good timing, keep your rhythm solid. So maybe just emphasize the downbeats of everything. So like the 1, 2, 3, 4, like really hit the strings a bit harder. Sometimes that can help when you're playing faster and faster. Eventually, it's going to be too fast to really emphasize anything, but just little things like that. Keep in mind when you're playing. When you are going higher and higher, try and be aware of what mechanics are happening. Like where are you picking from? What feels good? Just getting more awareness of what's happening is going to be helpful in being able to go faster and faster. Alright, so number 2, after some caffeine. Alright, so I find that the hardest thing with legato, when getting really fat, when getting faster and faster, or even like at the slower speeds though, like is just keeping the rhythm solid. So I noticed that I think for a lot of people, you know, we get to kind of like a weird middle ground, like where it's like we're comfortable at kind of a slow, medium pace, and then there's this gap in between the fast pace where it just feels awkward. So that's one reason I like to do the metronome stuff, is we can address those awkward speeds and get more solid with that. So we're not just getting really good at the slow and then really good at the fast. We got the middle ground we want to have polished up too. This gives us far more freedom in what we do play. So yeah, more options at our disposal. All right, so 60 beats a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know that you use your middle finger for the whole step stretch. That is fine. My hand needs to use the ring finger. All right, 120, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when you were doing the pull-offs yesterday, it did look like they were done right, to where you want to make sure you literally pull off from the string. So you basically pluck the string as you come off. So just make sure that you're still doing that as you go faster and faster, because a tendency a lot of guitar players will do is they'll just let go of the string. So you don't want to just let go of the string. You literally want to pull off the string, so this way you're plucking it with your left hand to produce the best pull-off sounds. All right, 160. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. $180, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 200, 1, 2, blah, terrible count off. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 220, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 240, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. We better 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Terrible, good lord. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's one of the things that'll happen, that can very well happen, is as you get faster and faster. Like for me, those hammer-ons there, they were going down too quick. I wasn't spacing them out well enough. So of course, I'm not going up in 5s here, so I'm working against myself by going up so, you know, the bigger jumps here. But this is just for demo purposes anyway. So still, when you do it every single time, every day that you start, no matter how fast you get, always start at 60. Go up 5 beats per minute every time that you do it right. No more than 5. We'll talk more about like going up in slower increments later. But for now, let's keep it simple, since we're just doing a couple things each week. We want to see how things progress. 5 beats a minute is totally fine. I like to save going up in smaller increments for when you really get stuck. So I think we're too early in the speed building stuff and getting good feedback to start worrying about doing like plateau breaking ideas. Too early in the game. Okay, so the writing assignment stuff. You're taking the modes. You're taking that Ionian mode, starting on the A note, and you're going to rewrite all the modes, starting on the same note, and you're just going to shift the notes around. So you can take a look at the scale sheets that you do have, where you have all the scales in the key of C, also known as the key of A minor. It's the same thing, same 7 notes. And you just kind of like double check that way. So, when you're learning the C major scales, all 7 shapes, only add 1 shape at a time. So you want to make sure you can play the C scale and the D Dorian shape back to back without looking at your page before you add in E Phrygian. So you'll see the E Phrygian is up at the starting on the 12th fret, and you also have it in the open position. So I would learn the high octave first, then go into the open position, and then continue on to Epiphyllodian and so on. So when you're going to take that Dorian shape, or when you're going to write the Dorian shape, and you start going through your Ionian, you just kind of put the dots in as you go. So they both have the first interval, of course. Got to have the 1, and then Ionian and Dorian both have the 2, so that note would be the same. So Ionian has a 3, Dorian has a flat 3. So you write that third note on the 8th fret instead of the 9. And you continue on. So they both have a 4, both have a 5, both have a 6, and then Ionian has a 7, Dorian has a flat 7. So you're just going to shift it down to that. So like, if you go root note to root note, or root note to octave, your Ionian would be, Dorian would be, and you just continue on through all the other strings as well. So if any questions come up working on that, let me know. If any questions come up with anything else, please let me know. And I will see you again Monday at 4:30.